Well, a very warm welcome, everybody, back to the DDMM YouTube channel. It's a Tuesday night, every second Tuesday at this part of the year. So, of course, it is time for yet another round of the Club 100 iRacing Championship. This could be a bit of a banger tonight. Round 8, penultimate event of the season for the GT3s. And we're at Bathurst. Mount Panorama is our venue for this evening in a race that could be very, very key for the championship stakes. Myself, Andrew Mather and Reeve Taylor are ready to go. Good evening, Reeve. How's your last couple of weeks been?
Been very good. Thank you very much, Andrew. I've been thinking about this one in the back of my head for the past couple of weeks. We've been discussing it throughout the season as well. It's going to be an interesting one. You say a banger, I say potentially a little bit of banger racing, maybe. Here at Mount Panorama for 90 years, near there or thereabouts, this track has been kind of keeping racing enthusiasts on their toes. I think tonight's going to be another example of that.
Absolutely. It's a circuit that is not for the faint-hearted. I think it's one of those tracks that drivers both love and hate at the same time. It is probably the most difficult circuit on the calendar this year. As I say, that's why we put it a little bit further back in the calendar, you know, to get people up to speed. Great attendance again tonight from the drivers. 34 drivers set to go tonight, so we're pretty much a full field of owner racing. But this is not owner karting at all. This is GT3 racing in the Club 100 iRacing Championship around Bathurst. If you're new to this championship, you're new to the formats, here's how tonight is going to work. We'll have a qualifying session beginning in around 7 minutes time. That will be a lone qualifying, so everybody will have the track to themselves in their own little bubble iRacing universe, as I like to call it. And they've got two opportunities, 2 flying laps basically to get times in. Unsurprisingly for Australia at this time of the year, nice and sunny and dry. Could be tricky for drivers once we get into racing. Tyre management is going to be a factor. Very interesting to see a little bit more variety tonight, Reeve, in terms of car selection. So far this year, it's been the big beefy boys that have dominated things. You know, the Mustangs, the Aston Martins that have been used a lot. 2 40-minute races tonight for drivers to negotiate, and we're going to see quite a few mid-engined machines out there on track.
We are indeed, yeah, the big shift towards the mid-end machinery for the twists at the top end of Mount Panorama. So we're seeing a lot more Porsches out on track. The Ferrari, the McLaren has got 3 drivers driving it this evening, which I think is a season record as well. As the regular, we got one Lambo. We've got Steve Hicks, yes, who has opted for a Lambo. Obviously, that's a very similar car architecture-wise to the Audi R8 that are also mid-engines out on track. And then we have got a small smattering of Fords and Astons as well. So there's your car weather report, pretty much.
It is indeed. Remember, for the rules, any driver in the Premier or Clubman class, they've got free reign. That level of driver tends to have all the different GT3s anyway. For the intermediates and the rookies, the more gentleman and amateur levels of iRacer, they are allowed 1 free change of GT3 car across the course of the 5 events. So a lot of them will have used that for tonight. That's kind of extra information that's not really going to affect things too much in terms of championship points. Let's talk championship points. 3 rounds to go. I was a little bit eager, folks, 2 weeks ago at Oschersleben, saying that we had a champion crowned. That is not 100% true, but it's still looking pretty good for Matthew Swain. He's got 1,570 points on the board. Max Andrews is more than 200 points back. The situation for Matt Swain is this. On track, he's got enough points. Max Andrews cannot outscore Matt Swain on track. However, this championship does have attendance bonus points. And if for whatever reason Matt Swain didn't get those attendance bonus points, up to 75 for being at every single round across the course of the season, mathematically Max Andrews could still beat Matt Swain. I.e., if Matt Swain takes part in practice in every single one of the last 3 rounds of the season, he's got this championship won. The other way of doing it, of course, is further extending his score from 1570 tonight. I reckon he needs about 225 points out of a 240, and then that whole thing about attendance points goes out the window. We're going to talk about drop scores tonight as well. This is the point of the season where drivers, especially anyone who's been at every single round so far this season, they are going to be looking tonight to get rid of their worst score. That could simply be a round they weren't with us for, so getting rid of a 0 score. It could have been a round early on in the season that they were at, but they didn't have a good night. So drivers are going to have that in the back of their minds from this point forward. Max Andrews still there in second place. He's ahead of the top Clubman driver at the moment, Tom Saunders, 1:137 for Saunders, but it's still very, very close. And as I say, the drop scores are going to start coming into play for the likes of Sam Spinell and Cam Watson. So even though they're a little bit further back, that could change once we get to the end of racing here tonight. Tom Roberts, Ronald Grossman, they're both going for third place in Premier. Remember, we've got a prize pot of up to $500 in iRacing credit up for grabs. Quite a few of these drivers that you see on this first page are, if they're not quite going to be able to take one of the class championship prizes, and with it the free Club 100 SP40 North or Experience drive later on in the year, they are going to be wanting to get those iRacing dollars. They are going to keep wanting to improve their championship scores. So that's your top five: Swain, Andrews, Saunders, Roberts and Grossman. Spinell, as mentioned, is still very much in play in Clubman 6th overall, as is Watson. Adam Brown currently holding one of those lots of iRacing dollars, 5th in Premier. And then keep an eye on the likes of Jack Eyre and Andy Alston. They're drivers who haven't had perfect days, or perfect seasons I should say. They've had iffy days earlier on in the year. They could come to the fore with drop scores coming into play. Pretty much everyone in that top 15 is in that situation. Matthew Shawnee is also in that top 15 at the moment. Should note him in 13th place in intermediate. He's got a good gap over the likes of John Adey and David Whitehouse, but those two drivers in particular have been chipping away at the lead of Shawnee over the last couple of rounds. One class not on this top order at the moment is, of course, the rookie category. Dan Cook, though, is in a really, really good spot right now in the rookie category. 575 points, 21st overall. Could he extend his lead even further over the likes of Sean Patterson, Simon Delamere and Colin Ward? It's not that long ago since Cook and Ward were equal on points at the midway point of the season. So we'll be keeping an eye on that tonight. In a way, Reeve, I kind of feel for the rookies tonight. This is going to be a real test for them. You know, a lot of them may not have had this big a race on this circuit in previous times. I've mentioned it in the driver's briefing about 10-15 minutes or so ago. Keeping it on the island, keeping it out of the walls, particularly in intermediate and rookie categories, is going to be imperative tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We might be in for a couple of races of attrition, shall we say. But as you also noted in the driver's briefing earlier, this track pretty much does track limits for you. So as you say, keep out of those walls, keep clear of the nasty curbs, some of which you can see down towards the bottom end of the circuit, down towards the Chase or Murray's Corner, and you might find yourself in a pretty good position in those lower ranks.
Indeed. So, about 12 seconds to be exact to go in terms of the practice session. Sam Spinell fastest in the practice session on a 2-minute 3.14. I don't think we're going to see 2-minute 3s in this qualifying session though. I'm looking at recent lap times. Lot more times into the high 2-minute 4s. As track conditions have changed a little bit over the course of the evening so far. That 90-minute free practice session is over. Time to get into the business then of timed qualifying. For the drivers, they have 2 flying laps available at their disposal. Very simple situation. This set a fast lap time, get yourself up the order for the first of the 2 40-minute races tonight. We'll also try and get our graphics with the qualifying information on your screens up for you. We'll monitor these 34 drivers as they're all doing their qualifying pretty much simultaneously. One of the first drivers out on circuit, Murray Adams. Murray's had a very good start to the second half of the season and very much still in the mix for one of the top honours in the Clubman category. A driver who's come up through the ranks. Was a Class 2 champion a couple of years ago in this championship. That's the class that's kind of merged into the intermediate one now. Class 1 got split into Premier and Clubman a couple of seasons ago. But in the Paragon Mustang, those Mustangs have looked, as I say, there's a lot more mid-engine cars tonight, Reeve, but the Mustangs, which have kind of been the weapon of choice for most of the season, still looking pretty quick here tonight down under.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine, and this is, you know, take this with a pinch of salt. I'm going to say that my experience on this track, which was actually a few weeks ago, pretty much is summed up with just hold on for dear life when you get to this part. But from what I can tell is that the mid-engine cars might just have that little extra bit of agility through the twisty stuff as you head down towards the dipper. But the Mustang with that nice big V8 is going to have a good bit of pull down towards the chase and through the first part of the next lap as well. So be interesting to see how these races begin to play out between the drivers with such a big field spread in terms of cars. Who got on board with Daniel Cook in one of those aforementioned mid-engine cars here. Now he's running down towards the chase. This is easy flat as you head in before you have to nail the braking zone absolutely perfectly. Too little, you're going to screw off a huge amount of speed and brake too late, and you're going to be enjoying some of the Australian scenery.
Oh, indeed. But this is looking like a tidy opening to the lap. Here's Axel Slijepcevic. Slijepcevic was on pole position, if my memory serves me correctly, 2 weeks ago at Oschersleben in the MX-5s. We've got it on a bit of TV mix right now, and I'm feeling good right now. I think this is going to be one of the most spectacular TV mixes of the season.
Oh,
go
yeah.
over the top of the mountain there. Well, not quite the top of the mountain, still a few more corners to go before we get to that stage. On board still here with Axel Slijepcevic. No lap times in as of yet, although I think James de Havilland is about to complete a lap in his CLUB100 Rotax branded Porsche in the number 57. Or is that him starting a lap? No, I think that's him starting a lap. Who is furthest round the lap at the moment? Tim Ellis is a fair way round a timed lap. And I said last time, 2 weeks ago, Reeve, that we've not been giving Tim enough airtime. So here it is. He's been having a very solid season so far, kind of going under the radar a little bit in his first year in the championship. But right now, looking pretty good to at least finish in the top 15 overall, which is quite a feat.
It is indeed. He's looking pretty confident out here as well. Was pushing the car quite nicely heading in to the dipper there. The dipper's a really nasty left-hander as you start to approach the dip in elevation, as we now see him run through down towards the chase once more. But yeah, a nice turnout so far for Tim Ellis, and it's a really good season to build on as we head into further racing with us.
In similar fashion, Lawrence Vines has been quietly getting on with things. And here he is in the Vines Express Porsche. Down into the final sector. It's a long lap here at Mount Panorama. Over 2 minutes for a GT3 car. Down into Murray's corner. Tim Ellis is the first driver over the line at 2 minutes 6.004. Murray Adams goes to the top with a 2 minute 4.9. Over the line here, where does Lawrence Vines go? Nothing coming through yet, so that may be a lap that didn't count. Now, this is going to be important for drivers to make sure that they at least get a bank of time in, because if there's one circuit on the whole calendar, Reeve, that you do not want to have a bad qualifying at, it's got to be this one. That lap 1 run up over the mountain is not going to be easy.
Certainly won't be, and I've been pondering to myself, I don't know where I'd rather be in this field, to be honest. I don't know whether I want to be at the top end, or I certainly don't want to be in the mid-pack, I'll put it that way. Yeah. But at least if you're towards the bottom end of the field, you've got a bit of a breathing space, shall we say, to the run into the Griffin's Bend, and then beginning to climb up to the twisty stuff.
Indeed. Tom Roberts on your screens at the moment, currently your fastest driver in this session, 2 minute 4.557, just over a tenth clear of Tom Saunders then. Sam Sanders, who really needs a big round tonight. Sam had mechanical problems with his rig 2 weeks ago at Oschersleben, which took him out of the first race and then didn't start races 2 and 3. So that's a good example of a driver who has got a drop score potentially going out the window tonight in terms of getting rid of that poor score from the last MX5 round. At the moment, he's running there in third. Good lap time from Slijepcevic. Slijepcevic sticks it on provisional pole in the Freem Aston Martin. So the bright blue and yellow machine, which has been running well in these rounds in terms of pace, but it's never quite fallen Axel's way in terms of race luck. Could this be the change here tonight? He is still on a flying lap as well, so 2 minute 4.2 for an opening lap there, Reeve. That is impressive pace.
It is indeed. Seems to have found a really nice rhythm there in the final couple of sectors, has Slijepcevic. So I wonder if he's going to carry that momentum on into the next lap. We see Murray Adams improving there, but Roberts takes back very briefly provisional pole, because it's now Ronald Grossman in the Fezzer, who now leads the charge with a 2 minute 4.02. What a drive from Grossman there.
Tom Saunders over the line as well in third. Lots of drivers finishing their second laps here. Let's go back with Slijepcevic if we can. Here he is. What is Slijepcevic up to at the moment? It wasn't the best of first sectors. Sector 2 was pretty useful. Let's see if he can find another 2/10. So easy to overdrive this part of the lap, but now you can open the taps. Now you can go full speed down Conrod Straight. I've got to say, I don't think Slijepcevic looks to be at full pace here, so maybe he's had a problem earlier on in the lap. Watch this, he'll probably now stick it straight back onto pole position. Having said that, where is Matt Swain in all this? My goodness me, Matt Swain at the moment, championship leader, down in 14th place. Now, he doesn't necessarily need to win tonight, and as I say, Max Andrews is 9th at the moment as well. Hasn't had the best GT3 scores so far this year. Out of the final corner now. This is not going to be a new fast. Thank you, Axel. You've at least saved my blushes there. He's going to stay 4th. Who else is still on a lap out there? Craig Brown, I think, is still out on a lap in the Mustang. Should note as well, Matthew Shawnee is... I've got to say, I've been so impressed, Reeve, this season with Matthew Shawnee. For those new to the championship, this is a driver who was a rookie last year, had good days and bad days, learnt a lot. It's still very much for me in contention of, I was about to say most improved driver. Matthew won't be too happy with that. He's okay. He's still going to be up in the top 10 overall and on pole position in class. Maybe knew that he had a good lap in already and were just giving it beans and everything for that last part.
Only a couple of minutes to go then. I'm perhaps more so than ever very thankful for this separate qualifying format that we do run. I can't imagine we'd really get a full lap in 10 minutes with everyone was trying to go for a one-lap pace in this session. Let's go back on board with Tim Ellis, who we looked at earlier on. Currently in the 205s. At least that's what I've got on my timing system. Running along quite nicely there in that McLaren pack and abandons this run.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone's got over the line and have completed their laps. I think the only drivers that we've not seen out on track, I think Sam Dimolo might be going for a pit lane start. Tom Holland might be as well. Cameron Watson. Ooh, Cam's going to have work to do. Starting in the middle of the pack. He's just on the in-lap there. But P16. But, well, how about that from Ronald Grossman? Had a tough time of it 2 weeks ago at Oschersleben. Looks like he's going to be on pole position here with 5 seconds of the session to go. Checkered flag will come out in a moment. And we'll take you through the full grid for that one. Indeed, yes, the qualifying result is in. So let's press the button. Hopefully it works. Here we then are for the first race of the night. Ronald Grossman and Tom Roberts on an all-Premier front row to kick off round 8 here in Australia. Sam Spinell and Tom Saunders, that's row 2. Axel Slijepcevic and Sam Sanders, row 3. Murray Adams and Matthew Shawnee, row 4. Max Andrews pretty much the only driver who can beat championship leader Matt Swain in the title picture. Needs a big race here to keep those very slim chances of winning the championship still alive. Starts from P9, is joined by James de Havilland. Mike Hart and Jack Eyre, they will start from the 6th row of the grid. Then we find on row 7 Andy Alston and our championship leader Matt Swain. So let's see if Matt can move his way up the order here tonight. Josh Mitchell, a return for Josh. Starts this one from row 8. He's alongside Cam Watson. Steve Hicks on a return as well. Joins Lawrence Vines on row 9. Ollie Walker, back from a round suspension, is in good form here inside the top 20 on row 10, alongside the top rookie Daniel Cook. Jack Mitchell-Lowe and Colin Ward there on row 11. Tim Ellis and Eric Minnie on row 12. Eric continuing his good progress there. Rest of the field looks a little bit like this. John Adey and Sean Patterson, row 13. Craig Brown, Matt Hale, that's row 14. David Whitehouse has had a tough time there in time qualifying. Is alongside Aslan Iqbal on row 15. Simon Delamere, James Fremont, Sam Dimolo and Tom Holland complete the field then of 34 drivers ready to go here at Mount Panorama, here at Bathurst. Quite a short well, it's not even a formation lap, it's just a formation run, as it were, to the line to get us going here for this rolling start. So not a lot of time for drivers to get heat into their tyres, Reeve.
Not at all, no. So drivers going to have to bear that in mind and just keep a nice cool head as we head down towards Griffin's Bend. Not too many opportunities for people to make a huge amount of time at the start of this lap, so everyone will still be pretty compacted together, and I'm very much looking forward to this one, it must be said, as we go on board with our pole position driver Ronald Grossman alongside us Tom Roberts to get any wiggling in that they can to warm up those tyres.
So it will be a rolling start, of course. Pace car pulls into pit lane under sunny skies here in Bathurst. We're going to get round 8 of this year's CLUB100 iRACING Championship underway. Grossman will take us from pole position. 40 minutes underway then. Towards turn 1 they go. It's a good start for Ronald Grossman. I think we have, by that signal, got a couple of drivers starting in the pit lane. They all run up towards the mountain now for the first time. Looking clean at the moment. That's good to see. Not seeing any massive dramas. On board now with Sam Spinell. Sam knows that a big result here tonight could put himself maybe even back to the top of the championship table in the clubman category. Where is championship leader Matt Swain? Still running out there in around 14th place. Now this is where things could get a little bit interesting. Can they all make it through and over the mountain, especially in the first parts of it? I think so far, apart from a couple of drivers towards the back who've maybe just taken it easy, I think everybody has made it over the top of the hill, which is the initial part of this tricky part of the course. That's really good to see.
It is indeed. So far, so good. We say tentatively, it looked like very early on in the lap, Daniel Cook might have had some earlier issues, but that was well before the skyline section. But everyone else, you say, looking pretty good here. Sam Spinell rather keeping Tom Roberts, catching Tom Roberts sleeping pretty much on the start of this race. It looked like a nice easy move into first position before it seemed like the race has even begun. Axel Swiatek, we're on board with at the moment, currently in 4th, hunting down those Mustangs that have all of that straight line brute force as they hunt down a Ferrari as well. We run down the Conrod straight, everyone in a nice single file fashion. Top job drivers so far at the start of this race.
Yeah, this is good to see that everybody is immediately into a rhythm. This isn't the easiest circuit to overtake around. I do wonder whether we'll see some interesting plays with strategy. Well, at this stage of the race, really, you've got to be getting at least 8, 9, 10 minutes into these races. There will be some fueling done later on. Challenge here for 3rd place. Sliepcevic takes advantage of. I think that was a little mistake from Roberts just through Murray's. And, Sliepcevic didn't lead him. And another mistake there from Roberts. Out of sorts. He's going to lose out to Saunders, lose out to Sanders as well. What is happening on there, Reeve, in that Mustang?
Yeah, it just looks like an unfortunate little error creeping in there. This track is unforgiving in the exit hell corner, though. Just look at the amount of momentum he lost in that one small error there. Has all the race to make up for it. Big hello to Down to Race in the comments, watching along with the broadcast, who says, I have faith that everyone will make it through lap 1, and that faith was not misplaced. So thank you to all of you watching along so far as we go back on board with Tom Roberts on his recovery, well, what is shaping up to be so far a recovery drive. Still 6th on the road at the moment, so not all is lost just yet. But let's see who else we can have some thrilling action with here. We're going to go on board with Ronald Grossman as we run.
I think I saw Slijepcevic off wide there. Sorry, Reeve. And yeah, I think quite a few of them went off the road. I think Slijepcevic, Sanders, Murray Adams are all showing as having had moments off track. Let's have a look at that again. So this was just coming up over the very top. Whoa, my goodness me, Axel Slijepcevic is... Well, I say he's a lucky boy, but I think that was all driving skill that he managed to keep hold of that one, going through Skyline and towards the dipper. That was a very, very close moment to disaster. That wall on driver's right comes at you very, very quickly when you get it wrong through there.
It does well held by Axel Slijepcevic there. I wonder if we're seeing a few drivers going off because the tyres are up to temperature. Lap 1, everyone knows lap 1's your problem zone. Lap 2, people are thinking, there's a bit of temperature in this rubber now, we can start to push just a little bit more. And we might have just seen a few mishaps as a result of that, shall we say. Now we see Saunders hunting down Slijepcevic as we run down towards the Hell corner. All staying in single file for the time being. No early lunges. There's still well over 35 minutes of this race to go just yet, as we have David Whitehouse having a bit of an issue and unfortunately planted in the barrier in his Ferrari, and that is an unfortunate way to start the race.
Yeah, that's our first incident, sorry David, in terms of someone touching the barriers. And I think David will keep going for now. Hopefully there's not too much damage on the car. The Mind Charity Ferrari looks okay. Remember, all drivers do have a fast repair at their disposal. Most of them will use at the mandatory fuel stop later on in the race. On board with Cameron Watson now, marooned at the moment, down in 17th place with a returning Steve Hicks immediately ahead of him. Josh Mitchell as well, who's been away for a couple of rounds, showing he's still got the pace to, at the moment, hold inside that top 15, Reeve.
He is indeed. We go on board with Cameron Watson in the middle of the pack. The sole BMW in the pack, I do note. So my fellow BMW fans not really showing up in full force, probably because I imagine that they don't expect the car to survive the race potentially. Hey, it's very good on fuel in iRacing against that car, so maybe some interesting setup options will present themselves. Yeah,
maybe a bit of a chance to do a shorter fill later on when we get to that pit stop. So competitive at the moment in the CLUB100 iRacing Championship. Tenths are going to make a difference. Just going to have another look at that incident for David Whitehouse. Ooh, now was there another car involved there? No, just lost it. Coming out of the chase towards Murray's corner, so that's how that happened. I think we've had problems as well for Craig Brown in one of the Mustangs. This was coming down through the dipper, which really, that back end stepping out. Yep, that's a classic incident. Very, very easy to do through Forrest's elbow. Lost that just at the end of the dipper where the car goes light. And, well, gravity takes over. There's not much that Craig could have done about that. Hassan Iqbal, I think, has hit the wall down through the dipper as well. That Porsche doesn't look like it's steering in a factory spec manner. Yeah, that's a couple of drivers starting to be bitten here by the mountain.
They are indeed, and it's going to be a real task for these drivers to continue on throughout the race, keeping the nose clean if they can, because it's got 30 minutes to go. The fatigue will eventually set in. It's just like, I mean, it's a much shorter format than the endurance races that are often held here, but at some point you will get that kind of tunnel vision as you run all the way up through the mountain, and you've got another 40-minute race to go pretty much immediately after this one.
Have indeed. A little bit further down the order, here is a battle for 25th place. Simon Delamere, Tom Holland, no, not Spider-Man, the Warwick BUKC driver. Best of luck to anyone heading to Bucknell Park later this week, of course, for the first proper meeting of the season for the BUKC. I will see you there. I will be wearing a birthday party hat on Thursday. Don't annoy me, I will give you a penalty. We found out today that we've got the same birthday week.
We did indeed, and I was just thinking then, do I have to wear one in solidarity as well?
Oh,
It'd
yeah.
probably look a bit odd in work, but
Yeah.
it's a shame I can't tune in over any broadcasting that might be going on for that round, because, well, I'd probably be there, but we will get some BUKC broadcasting in at some point this season.
Yes, yes, I'm glad you've raised that. Tomorrow, everybody, at lunchtime, keep an eye on the socials. The full plans for Alpha Live and DDMM broadcasting of selected BUKC and Club 100 events will be released. That's all I'm going to say on that one now. I'm going to spoil it for you. Cam Watson into the pits. We said about 8 minutes was the earliest point at which we would see some pit lane activity. Cam has made us look slightly like we know what we're on about with that one. Coming in, I imagine that is the classic scenario of like, look, I've not got the pace to overtake and overhaul, you know, Hicks, Mitchell, Shawnee in that zone. It's a strange one at times, this circuit, because of course on those big runs out of Hell's Corner and down towards the chase, you can get a slipstream very easily and very nicely, and it can gain you time, but you could probably lose that time and more in traffic over the top of the hill.
Yeah, it is a fine balancing act to find, and part of me was thinking, might he be gunning for a run without too many rivals around him just to keep the nose clean? He would lose a slipstream, but he would, you know, still keep the car in the race. But he has left the pits and found himself right in the middle of another battle, so we'll get a slipstream, and as I mentioned, that car's fairly good on fuel. He can afford to just brim the tank and just see how the race plays out for the rest of the event.
We have a new race leader. Apologies, I missed this one.
We do.
Sam Spinell has found his way past Ronald Grossman. I've been really impressed with Sam the last month or so. I think the break, the winter Christmas New Year break, where there was 4 weeks between what was it, round 5, round 6, round 7, I can't quite remember now. But since then, well, he had to start from the back of the grids at Portimao. If you looked at the final race results, you wouldn't have known that he was started from the back of those grids. He stormed through the field, keeping it really clean all the way. I don't think Sam Spinell is out of the picture yet in terms of taking the win in the clubman category and being one of the 3 recipients of a free race day from Club 100 later on in the year. He just seems to be so laser focused at the moment at pulling himself back into this championship chase.
Yeah, it's been a really impressive run to start 2026 with for Sam Spinell. I would like to know what exactly he managed to do over the Christmas break to just seemingly become a little bit, well, I'm not going to say unstoppable, but as I say, put a real bit of momentum behind himself. I mean, I spent the Christmas break testing what my liver could handle pretty much, so I'd love to know what he spent his Christmas break doing.
I found it. Let's have a look at how Sam Spinell got it done. Oh my goodness, he didn't do it here, did he? Oh, at the fastest point of the circuit on the outside down towards the chase. Well, Sam, I think that may be going in the book for one of the overtakes of the season. That was a mega move. Ronald Grossman doing the wise thing there, not trying to fight that one too hard. I tell you what, Sam is bolting away here, 1.5 seconds clear now of Ronald Grossman. This could be a race-winning move here, because he's got the pace to break away from everybody else and then have a little bit of wiggle room to play with that in terms of what he does with his pit stop. Does he pit earlier? Does he pit later? Does he force everybody else to do something a bit different on strategy? This is a strong middle part of this race.
Is indeed that last lap nicely in the 2-minute 3s there as well, with all the fuel load that they will have. Obviously it would have come down over the past 10 or so minutes, but compared to qualifying times, we're not too far off those. So really impressive stuff from our front-running drivers here. Steve Hicks, we're going to go on board with, now returning to the series, the sole Lambo out on track to give us a bit of Italian flair with the German heart, as he heads down into the chase. Has a brief look at Lawrence Vines, a particularly close look, shall we say, but is still in the fight here.
Slepčević is in for a bit of fuel. Had been trying to get past Tom Roberts, I think, for P4 So similarly, maybe just thinking, get in, get the stop done, go into a bit of a hot lapping mode. But the thing is, it's such a big field here tonight, Reeve. Trying to find the gap in the traffic early on in these 40-minute races is not going to be easy, although I think he's got a chance of doing so here.
This could be the second time this season that we see some master plays here from Axel Slijepcevic in the pits as well. So let's see if that is the case. He jumps behind the Ferrari of Sean Patterson here as we head up towards Griffin's Bend. So will actually benefit from a bit of a slipstream, but most importantly is going to be stuck in the middle of a pack that might be attacking him. This is pretty ideal, I think, if you're Axel Slijepcevic.
It could be. The trouble is, Sean is probably 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower than Slijepcevic. Oh, Patterson touched the wall there. I don't think he was encouraged into that by Slijepcevic's car, but that was nearly disaster for both involved. They get away with it, but my oh my, I can understand why Slijepcevic was keen to get through, because this is the part of the circuit where he can make hay, and he doesn't want to be stuck behind one of the rookies. He's, well, seen that occur, but not in the most orthodox of fashions.
He is through either way as we head into turn 11, turn 12 here before we approach the dipper in just a moment. And now he has got that clear air. He's got quite a few seconds of clear air. Can just settle into a bit of a rhythm now as he tries to fight his way back up to the top end of the pack. We go on board with Matthew Shawnee, who we looked at earlier on in this race, heading down towards the chase here. Our leading intermediate driver just behind it is Ollie Walker in that fight for P2 on his return to racing after taking a small break. And very good weekend so far for Ollie Walker.
Yeah, it's been a good response from Ollie Walker, this, who, I mean, it's the thing with intermediate, because all the points, all the championship points are determined by overall position in each race. It is not out of the question that a driver a little bit further down the order, if they really get into their stride and get some strong finishes, they can have a big swing in terms of points from now to the end of the season. It is not out of the realms of possibility that Ollie Walker could still get himself, in that top 5 region of intermediate if he runs strongly between now and the end of the season. It is kind of one of those situations of, like, he cannot afford any mistakes. One DNF will probably kiss those chances goodbye. But when you see him up there with Shawnee again doing a brilliant job here, this could be another big race for Matthew Shawnee to extend his championship lead. Because look at where the other intermediates are. Anyone with a little green marker next to their position number, that's an intermediate on the timing tower. Whitehouse, Dimolo, 80. They're all outside the top 20 at the moment. And again, a reminder, the grid positions for race number 2 are set by the race result of race number 1. So, yes, there's a long way in this race to go, Reeve. 24 minutes and counting. But right now, I think if you'd offered this to Matthew Shawnee at the start of the race, he would have snapped your hand off. This could be a big moment in his championship bid.
Absolutely, and he's controlling things very nicely indeed at the moment. Ollie Walker, by no means a slouch in this race, but Matthew just seems to have that extra edge at the moment. He's controlling things quite nicely as we run towards the end of this lap.
Do indeed. Let's have a little bit of a rundown then of how things are looking. So, 17 minutes of this race gone. Here's your race leader, Sam Spinell in the Paragon Mustang, has a 2.37 second lead over Ronald Grossman, who's now under a little bit of pressure from Tom Saunders. So at the moment, Clubman, Premier Clubman. Showing again, I think we are going to be seeing a few Clubmans moving up to Premier at the end of this season. Saunders there in that all-white Aston Martin, going through the cutting. Really tricky corner that, particularly when you're moving all the way to one of these GT3s around. Tom Roberts still running in 4th place at the moment, a little bit further back, the second of the Stangs, and Sam Sanders running in the Audi R8.
some fabulous TV cams here, aren't there? Just the positioned so perfectly on the border, the apex of the corner, so you can see all of a sudden car just completely fills your screen at great speed. It's fantastic.
Max Andrews there in 6th place. As I mentioned earlier, the MX-5s have been strong for Max so far this season. We shouldn't forget that this is Max's first season in this championship, and the multi-car aspect of the championship is something that takes a while to get your head around. But Max is having a strong run here. This is probably one of the better GT3 runs that we've seen from him so far this season. Was very unlucky at Portimao. Had a quite strange incident with one of the back markers the last time out of the GT3s. That was not his fault at all. Right now, he is closing the gap on championship rival Matt Swain. But at the moment, I still think once we'll start doing some maths during the 10-minute break between races 1 and 2, I think it's still looking pretty good for Matt Swain to, at the second time of asking, wrap up the championship overall here tonight.
I'd just like to add that I'm very happy to stay on the gearbox cameo of Sam Sanders, because this Audi makes a phenomenal noise, doesn't it? That's a great shot here of this, of Max Andrews hunting down Sam Sanders, slowly filling up our field of view with that Mustang GTD. It's brilliant stuff.
I probably agree with you, but there's a good battle going on for 8th place. This is Andy Alston, another one of the Aston Martins, going up against Matt Swain. 2 Rethink Racing drivers here. In fact, make that 3 Rethink Racing drivers. Jack Eyre just behind there in the Porsche. I do like with the Rethink Racing boys, they've all got the same core really, but with the different details and accents to the colours. And I've got to say as well, I've not mentioned it so far this season, but given that he is closing in on title, very bold choice from Matt Swain to put the gold on from the early points of the season. It's at least with the design of the car. He's been backing himself to be gold in P1 from the start of the season. As I say, with a solid run tonight, he should secure that position.
Yeah, that is perhaps a little bit of foreshadowing. I mean, to be honest, I can't make comments. I can't see them at the moment.
Oh, that's true.
I get some lovely random patterns, which is great. It's like Andy Warhol's been in for the entire. just had at it.
I know I say this every week, but we will fix that for next time. Lap 10 of this race then, on board with Matt Swain. Down through Conrad. Doesn't look like Matt is pushing too hard here. Doesn't really need to as well. He doesn't need to start thrashing the car around the circuit. Change for 2nd place. Looks like Tom Saunders has got through past Ronald Grossman. Again, Grossman's lost out into the chase. This time it's the inside. But textbook move there from Tom Saunders. CLUB100 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, very nice running here from Saunders to get that overtake done. Swain still hunting down Alston in this fight for P8 at the moment. No big brave moves, as you mentioned, taking place so far. No need to, as Tim Ellis dives into the pits in one of the McLaren's, another very fuel-efficient car in this game. So see Tim Ellis jumping his into the pits. We might be seeing that jumping out back shortly. Be interested to see where he comes out. As there we go, Cameron Watson up on through now. So beginning to see the final pieces of the earlier race strategy just beginning to take shape now as we get into the final stages of this race. I say final stages, we've still got just under half race distance to go. And as we look down towards the start finish line once again, Tim Ellis dives out of the pits onto the pit limiter, get ready to continue on his next stint as we look from the helicopter here at Axel Slijepcevic. He's currently running in 18th on the road after his earlier stop. Daniel Cook is the driver up in front of him, so a couple of McLarens to contend with next, if I can try and get my words out properly. And Slijepcevic will be on a bit of a charge back up towards the top end of our Prem drivers.
Big couple of laps, I think, here for Axel. His pace is very good. Very, very good. He's just set a 2-minute 3.9, so he's quicker than the leaders at the moment. So he is gaining from a net position, but now he's going to start hitting traffic. He really needs these drivers who haven't pitted yet to give them a favour and dive in now instead of trying to have to overtake them wheel to wheel out on track. This could be make or break now for Axel Slijepcevic's race in its entirety. Andy Alston, I think, has had a bit of a moment. Has lost 8th place to Matt Swain. Yep, Swain goes through. So I think Alston may have just run a bit wide there out of the final corner. Let's have a look and see what happened here indeed. Down into Murray's. And, oh yeah, just a little bit too much speed on Apex there, Reeve. Very easy to do. And Matt Swain, without too much trouble, takes 8th place.
He does indeed. It'll now be interesting to see what Matt can do. And it has been somewhat released. Last time we saw a Mustang overtake an Aston, it was for P1, and Spinell just absolutely found rhythm and walked away. Really got into a bit of a groove. So I wonder if Swain is able to replicate this. Although Alston, it must be said, is certainly fighting for it on the exit of the cutting there. Is certainly not having a lazy cruise in that Aston Martin. Slijepcevic, another Aston Martin driver here, has got past Daniel Cook, so that's one McLaren ticked off the list. Now in the McLaren sandwich, Colin Ward will be the next driver that Slijepcevic needs to have negotiations with out on track, but at the moment has made his way up into 18th.
2-minute 3.99 last time around for Axel Slijepcevic. In comparison, Spinell 2-minute 4.2, 2-minute 4.6 for Saunders, 2-minute 4.8 for Grossman. So Slijepcevic is still gaining here. And of course, those 3 other aforementioned drivers have still got to give us their pit stop before the end of this race. A little bit further up the road. That's a back marker being put down a position on track by Sam Sanders. P5 right now for Sam Sanders. Change as well further down the order. John Adey having a battle here with Sam Dimolo. 2 intermediate drivers going at one another. Trouble is, their chances of intermediate class glory, is this the night where it starts to slip away from them? Because right now, Matthew Shawnee up in 13th place. That's going to be a big championship score for the class leader.
Yeah, Shawnee has just been, I mean, I don't want to say a cut above, but has been notably impressive in the intermediate run. It must be said over the past few rounds. As Ollie Walker into the pits here. Now,
I think Ollie has had. Don't worry, Ollie. I've done this. I think he's come into the pit lane because, of course, I think what's happened there with Ollie, he's come into pit lane. Everyone's grid. Pit lane positions are randomly allocated, and I think they may change from practice, or maybe Ollie's just not quite got himself aware of where that spot is in practice. He's got so far down the pit lane and then realised, hang on a minute, where's my lollipop man? Oh, he's behind me. And he's had to reverse back up the lane a bit, so that will have cost him a bit of time. Don't worry, Ollie, you recovered it. That's the most important thing. I did that once at a race at Le Mans, and I was a long way down the pit lane before realising, hang on, I've had a bit of a duffer here. And, that was a sheepish lap afterwards. Anyway, back out on circuit goes Ollie Walker. We saw Josh Mitchell in as well for his pit stop. Yeah, by comparison, Josh Mitchell was in and out 34 seconds. Ollie Walker, 1 minute 16. So Ollie, he probably has lost somewhere in the range of 30-40 seconds there. That's going to drop him a long way down the order, I fear.
It will. 30 minutes to try and recover it, and at least another race after this, though, to try and make amends as well. We're back on board with our race leader, who's had a pretty comfortable time out here at Mount Panorama compared to everyone else. Ronald Grossman, his nearest rival earlier on in the race, has now found his way behind Tom Saunders. Tom Saunders under a bit of pressure here for P2, as I am sure Grossman and Robert wanting to claw back what they will feel are rightful positions, but they're going to have to fight for it. Saunders on that last lap of 2:04.4. Grossman just a tenth or so faster. Roberts was notably faster just behind, but I think that was foul of track limits. So Grossman is going to be putting on that pressure now as we go on board with Slijepcevic.
Slijepcevic 2 minutes 6.03. Lost a lot of time there trying to get past Colin Ward, who then, to further frustrate things for Axel, just pitted. So that's what we're meaning by Axel needed a little bit of help from the traffic. Of course, Colin Ward wasn't obliged to jump out of Axel's way then, because they were fighting for position off of our cameras, but, well, the times don't lie. I reckon Axel's lost the best part of 2 seconds with that, and that could be the 2 seconds that makes the difference between, where was he before the stops? He was 5th, wasn't he? So that could make the difference between moving up from that 5th position or not. Still no pit activity from the race leader, Sam Spinell. 12 minutes to go, so it's not going to be long before we see these drivers hit pit road.
Certainly won't, and I'll be interested to see what the times are looking like for Spinell or Saunders, for example, because they'll jump into the pit, they'll barely put a dash of fuel in by the time they are in the pits, as David Whitehouse is exiting the aforementioned pits onto the exit of Hell Corner. And we should see a bit of a sprint to the end for some of these drivers now.
David Whitehouse just getting out ahead of Matt Hale and James Fremont there. 3 long-standing drivers in this championship. Here come the leaders then into the pits. Ronald Grossman goes round for another lap. So Grossman has been able to save a bit of fuel, perhaps, sitting in the slipstreams of others in recent times. But he's gonna need a mega lap here to emerge in the lead at the end of this this pit stop phase. Everyone's in on this one. In fact, apart from Matthew Shawnee running second. Now, he's not going to stay there because, as we mentioned, he's still yet to make his pit stop. But surely that, if anything, is testament to how much Matthew Shawnee has improved. That, yes, on pit cycle, a driver who last year, was in the rookie class, didn't win the rookie class either, is running second on the road. This is superb progress.
Absolutely, it really is impressive, especially at a track like this, when you might still expect to see a driver in the second season with the championship that, the odd mistake might creep in here or there, as we see Saunders just following Roberts through to find a way past some back marker traffic. It's always difficult to try and negotiate ways past some lap traffic when the corners get as tight, technical and twisty as they do at the top end of Mount Panorama, but that was done quite nicely there. So Saunders and Roberts continue on their battles. Roberts in 4th, Saunders in 5th. So a jump there through the pit phase, and Saunders pushing that Aston as much as he dares as we head down towards the dipper now. And Roberts having the measure so far, but I imagine this battle has the potential to continue on to the end of the race.
It does, however, I'm a little bit worried, Reeve. I don't think you'll have this information at your end. The eagle-eyed amongst you on the live broadcast will probably be able to see this. There is a black flag showing against Tom Saunders' name. Now, we've mentioned already, off tracks and incident points of that nature. Remember, it's quite a few incident points before you get a drive-through in the GT3 races. Easy for me to say. 25 points, incident points, is what you get before iRacing calls you in for a bit of naughty boy time. Yeah, I think Tom Saunders has sped in pit lane. That's pretty much the only thing I can think of. It came up on screen almost immediately after Tom Saunders left pit lane. So there's surely been some form, and yeah, you can see the white Aston Martin going down pit lane now, not going into the slow lane. That is very costly indeed for Tom Saunders. We'll try and find out what the pit lane infringement was. It could have been something as simple as his finger just slipped on the pit limiter, either on entry or exit, but either way, that is a big development. A driver who was in contention for a top 3 in this race is now down in 14th place.
That is disaster for Tom Saunders. I'm sure that's lit up the faces of a few of our Premier drivers there, but what a shame. Otherwise, a fantastic drive so far for Saunders. One small error potentially having a big effect. Spinell will be blissfully unaware of that, I am sure, at the moment. He's cruising along nicely in this one. Mike Hart we're on board with at the moment. He is one of our premier drivers, currently running an 8th on the road. 10 minutes to go in this one, and Mike Hart, one of our Aston Martin drivers, just behind the likes of Swain and Andrews, who are enjoying a bit of a battle there.
Yeah,
and in fact, it looks like Hart's going to jump in on this. Sorry.
Yeah, I just realised we haven't seen Mike so far tonight on his return to the championship as well. I think he's done a couple of rounds earlier on in the year. It's a good display from driver, very experienced driver. Raced Caterhams for a very long time in real life, and had a dabble in the British GT Championship as well. That's a back marker, I believe, that they're just moving by. Oh, now was there a bit of a touch there? I think the Mustang ahead looked to lift off there. Oh, now I think it may have been Craig Brown, but well, that could have been quite problematic. No, yeah, Craig is still there, but there was that definite iRacing crunch sound. So, 6 minutes of this one remaining. What a job Sam Spinell has done here. This is looking very, very good indeed. Battling rookie to talk about as well. Daniel Cook at the front of this one. I think has just got past one of his title rivals in the class. This was it. Down towards Murray's Bend. Through went Daniel Cook past Colin Ward. Colin will be getting rid of an earlier dropped score for one of the rounds he wasn't able to race at with the score here tonight. Rookie, the only category that doesn't get some free in real life Club 100 time. There is still a good prize pot up for grabs in this one. You pretty much get your whole entry fee back. And as I say, often the rookies will then move up into intermediates, and then they can start winning the even bigger prizes.
Yeah, great to see our rookies enjoying some action out on track as well. We go back on board with Cameron Watson. Has been keeping things alive in the midfield throughout various points, has Cameron Watson in the Soul BMW this evening. Keep mentioning the Soul BMW. I want to see more of those big, massive kidney beans on the front end of cars. As we see there, that looks to be another back marker just gallantly dipping out of the way. We've gone on board with Sam Dimolo now, a bit further back down the action, trying to find a way past Sean Patterson here. Currently running in 4th overall in the intermediate standings. Oh, big one for Jack Mitchell-Lowe there.
Yeah, that's a spin down. Actually, no, that's at the cutting, isn't it? So we've not seen anyone have a problem at the cutting yet. What has happened there to the Jam Aston Martin? We'll try and get a replay up. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is going to tell us full pitch. This is into the cutting, 4th gear. Oh, no, I know what's going to happen here. Just too many downshifts. Oh, no. That's a very strange one indeed. I thought that was going to be a case of just too many downshifts. And then the back end came round. But it's kind of... The back end started to come round. Then he caught it. Then the front did something a bit strange. And then the back end came round for a second bite at the cherry and spun the 3-2-5 round.
At least we can be thankful that it wasn't right on lap 1, shall we say, heading into the cutting. 3 minutes to go in this one. Jack Mitchell-Lowe continuing on there. I think overall, and this could be the worst commentators could ever potentially, I think the drivers have done very well in race 1 so far, all things considered, of keeping the noses clean, keeping the cars pointing in the right direction. I think they'll all be rewarded with, for the most part, will be some decent race results for everyone, I think, compared to their qualifying.
Yeah, I'd fully agree. The driving standards at Portimao were very, very good. We had a little bit of a wobble in the middle of the season. I had to get a bit grumpy. But the drivers have responded in the correct fashion, particularly in these GT3s. And yes, you could say, well, Portimao's a big F1 grade circuit, very wide, lots of space to play with. You know, it's easier to have a cleaner race around that kind of circuit than it is around here. But testament to the drivers, this has been very good so far. here at Bathurst. We'll see what happens in race 2, of course. As I say, there's no trepidation of a bad result in race 1 then going on to affecting the next race when you get to race 2, of course. 2 more laps. Yeah, there'll be 2 more laps of this one. Just short of 38 minutes on the clock. New fastest lap of the race from Axel Slijepcevic. We should note Slijepcevic was able to gain through that pit stop phase. Got back up to 4th place. This has been a better race than it looks, I think, for Axel. He had a bit of misfortune in the early parts of it, but his race pace is very, very strong. If he can have a strong start to race 2, he could still be a factor for the round win here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if, as you mentioned, this pace is anything to go by. To be 0.4 of a second clear of the leader of the race this phase is mighty impressive stuff, and that's not to say that Spinell's not doing a great job as well. He's found over half a second compared to P2 and P3, so we are seeing some properly strong drives at the top end here. I think given a few more laps, Slijepcevic would be a bit of a thorn in the side for those prospective podium sitters at the moment.
Do you want your favourite shot?
Yes, please.
Here we go. Here he is. Sam Sanders with Max Andrews immediately behind, coming down through the dipper now. Look at the front end of that Mustang.
Wow.
Charging. It's something about the colour red, isn't it, that just strikes fear into a driver. Oh, Sam Sanders is dealing with that very, very nicely right now. Down towards the chase once again. It's been a really, really good back and forth between these two. Sam Sanders knowing he needs big points tonight to get himself back into that mix for the prize fund, or bits of the prize fund as we get towards season's end. If you want to get involved for future racing activities in the CLUB100 Sim Racing Championships, make sure that you're following our SimGrid page. Details for that are in the description below. We're going to have to get our thinking caps on. But we want to keep things going through the spring and the summer. Can't promise that there'll be full broadcast events because, of course, things get busy. Real kart races happen. But do want to keep the community going before we then, all things being well, run another one of these main championships in the autumn through the winter and early spring of 2026, 2027. But do head across to the SimGrid page. Make sure that you're following and getting all the notifications on that one. For Sam Spinell, though, this I think is going to be a very satisfying win. Of course, there's still a job to be done here, Reeve, in race number 2, but we've seen some very, very good speed from Sam Spinell earlier on in this season, and this is a driver that we shouldn't forget, very well accomplished in his BUKC racing career with both Hertfordshire and Coventry, very experienced in the British Pro Kart Endurance Championship as well. It's one of the top rated drivers in that championship, but tonight in this first race it feels like, you know, it's taken 7 rounds, but it is now really starting to knit together for the Belgian.
Yeah, absolutely. To do it at a track like this as well, ever so more impressive. Started P3 on the grid in this one, got 2 overtakes, nipped it in the bud very early on, and has just cruised home ever since.
So down towards the chase for the last time in this first part of the evening. 3.9 seconds, the advantage over Ronald Grossman. This will already get rid of round number 3. This will be a 120-point score from this first race, and he'll start on pole position for race 2 as well. Out of Murray's he goes. Sam Spinell celebrates over the line. It's a win for the Paragon Mustang. Second place will go to Ronald Grossman. That's a great return for Ronald after a difficult time last time out. Tom Roberts comes home 3rd, holds off Axel Slijepcevic. 5th for Sam Sanders, 6th Max Andrews, 7th Mike Hart. Good drive there. 2nd of the clubman's home will be Andy Alston, and look at this over the line through there. Matt Swain did get P9, just held off Murray Adams and Jack Eyre. And over the line as well to take the win in intermediate is going to be Matthew Shawnee. Lost a couple of positions in the second half of that race, but he's still finished, what is that, 6 places clear of the next intermediate. That is going to be very, very good news in terms of championship points. Another win in rookie for Daniel Cook over the line will extend his championship lead at this moment over that driver there, Colin Ward. And Ollie Walker, good return. Despite that problem in the pits, is still going to be second in class. Gets over the line ahead of John Adey, who, I tell you what, for the Parachuting Carrots, they're cementing their positions within the standings in the intermediates. That's going to be a few more points for John Adey over David Whitehouse, who's still not done here. He's got Jack Mitchell Lowe all over the rear axle of his Mind Ferrari coming round Murray's, but Whitehouse will hold on for P24. Now I think Eric Mignon is showing as having had an incident. Oh yeah, the whole rear clip of that Aston Martin completely missing, so something has happened there to Eric Layton. Let's have a look. It was down through, is that through the cutting or is that down through the dipper? Oh, quite a big hit for Eric Mignon. No, it was out of Forrest's elbow that that the Belgian in the 328 went round. So I tell you what, Eric's done well to get that back to the start line, and that's where the rear diffuser went of the Aston Martin. Well, there we go, Reeve. What did you make of that first race?
Overall, as I mentioned in the final few laps, I'm very impressed with everyone. They kept the noses clean and actually just gave us what ended up being a really exciting and intriguing race without the chaos that you might come to expect. So well done to everyone there. It makes me ever so more excited now for race 2 because the drivers know what they're contending with.
They do indeed. So Sam Spinell will be on pole position for race number 2. Doesn't get 0 points. We'll get 120 championship points for that one. We'll look to get even more when we go back to racing in about 9.5 minutes' time. Grossman, Roberts, Slijepcevic and Sanders all in the top 5. Andrews, Hart, Alston, Swain. Matt Swain, I think that's his lowest race finish of the season so far, but still decent points inside a top 10 completed by Murray Adams. Jack Eyre, James de Havilland, Josh Mitchell, Cam Watson and Tom Saunders all in the top 15. What a costly mistake there from Tom Saunders. That drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement drops him down from what was probably going to be at least a 5th place, maybe even a top 3. Loses a lot of points as a result. Pretty much typifies what's been going on in Clubman this year. A lot of highs, but also quite a few lows for drivers out there. Another high for Matthew Shawnee, P16 in that one. Another race victory for him in the intermediate class. Lawrence Vines and Steve Hicks get on to page 1. Dan Cook was next up, P19, ahead of Colin Ward. Those are the top 2 in the rookie category. And I tell you what, they did a really good job beating out pretty much all of the other intermediates. Tim Ellis, P21. Ollie Walker, the first of those mentioned intermediates, second in the class. John Adey and David Whitehouse and Jack Mitchell Lowe complete the top 25. Sean Patterson, Sam Dimolo, James Fremont, Tom Holland and Eric Mignon will all have work to do in the second race. Simon Delamere and Matt Hale were the last of the drivers on the lead lap. Craig Brown finishes 3 laps down. Ahsan Iqbal was a retirement. We'll take a break then. Keep it locked here on the DDMM YouTube channel. We've got about 8 minutes before the next race.
But Andrew Mather, it's your first Kart Masters, so please bring them to the start.
15 minutes plus 1 lap are underway for the Grand Prix in Minimax 2025. It's a very good start for Emerson McAndrew. One of the SFRs is taking to the grass in the early stages, but apart from that, it looks pretty good. Finding the grip. 3-4 corners to go. What a win this is going to be for George Edgar. George Edgar wins gold. Gold for the United Kingdom. What a drive.
Yes, it's not done yet, is Daniel Ferguson. He could have 14 positions.
And here he goes down the inside on Ozzie Gibson. Ozzie Gibson tries to fight it around the outside.
but nothing is stopping Daniel Ferguson in this race, particularly through turns 3 and 4 as Phillips goes for the lead. Phillips down the inside, and he takes it away from his teammate. What a move by Jesse Phillips.
He's coming back,
Cradham's going to give it him back. Here's the point where they've got to be careful. How many chains have we seen pop off there through turn 3 and 4? Everything was fine. As out of the race, is it Archie Owen who's out of the race?
It's Evan Purcell
It's Evan Purcell. They've both gone. Here we go. It was always going to happen when it stacks up. Archie Owen and Evan Purcell's weekends and hopes of Miami Winter Cup victory are over.
Let's head across to Eli Christian, who's the first of our top 4 in the championship. Eli, yes, it's not pole position, but you are the highest ranked driver on the grid of those right at the sharp end of the championship. You've cut the lead to William Kalesia behind. Are you feeling you can do this? Can you take the championship lead today?
Yes, of
So final lap board is going to come out now. Harry Bartle sees it, looking to take his second win of the year. First win, first podium visit it would be as well, since all the way back at Dunk as well. Tinsley defends to the inside. I don't think Higgins is going to get involved in that though, because he has a 7-point advantage. But out of the final corner, Harry Bartle, through the final 2 turns, will take his second win of the year, will take second place in the championship and the place in Bahrain. But Matthew Higgins, from 2 weeks ago, a horrendous incident could have put pay to his season. It didn't happen for him 1 week ago at the World Championships, but here at PF International, a circuit where he's had so many successes over the years, he can now say for the first time he is Reeve Tools Motorsport UK Senior Rotax British Champion.
Let's go with Maria Neto around her home circuits on this year's calendar, the Cartodromo International Algarve. The lap starts quick with high speeds through the right-handers of turns 1 and 2 before a tricky stop on the brakes into another right-hander, turn 3.
This is the part of the course though where Kenzo Craigie has been really strong for the past 10 laps or so. Noah Baglin has got to hold it together. He's got to pick his line very carefully off of the Litchfield Bridge. This could be the key point into hairpin number 1. Baglin goes right, Craigie goes left. Craigie is nearly off the road. Both of them are off the road. Craigie's going to look for the switchback. Hairpin 2 is going to be another opportunity for them. Backlund goes defensive again. Craigie's got his node ahead. Can he get on the power? He's off the road. He's completely off the road. He's still side by side of Backlund and Craigie through the Fullerton S's. What a finish we're having here at PF International. It's still not done. You can overtake everywhere around the circuit. Craigie looks down the inside. He's through. Welcome everybody once again to Kim Bolton. Whatever you're doing, put your phone on silent, put the tea down, do whatever you need to do to be ready for this, the title decider for 2025 in the Reeve Tools Motorsport UK British Kart Championships in KZ2. The Gearbox Short Circuit title is on the line. This is going to be a nail-biter, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen some stunning finishes in this KZ2 class in years gone by. You think back to the likes of 2019. You think back to last year as well. What is going to happen here in 2025? It's the Reeve Tools Motorsport UK British Kart Championships. It's KZ2 and we are racing in the season finale. It's a good start for Price. It's a good start for Weston and Murphy. Stevens is already fighting for P4. Really good stuff. Maxim Rem goes around the outside of Finn McLaughlin to retake the race lead. McLaughlin responds down the inside. Rem's run wide there. Another couple of the US Racing runners also wide as they go into the infield. Where is Simon Strands in all of this? One of the Van Amersfoort Racing cars is off. There he is. There he is, the number 25 of Simon Strands, and you can just see from the body language of his car that he's miles quicker than everybody else. Got to keep his rear tyres in check as Simon Strands. That's what he was struggling with through turns 12 and 13 after the long run through 10 as he weaves his way through. What an incredible piece of driving there from Simon Strands, who's now up to, is it third place? There is Finn McLaughlin, who's going to be the next target for Simon Strands. So it's in this part of the course. He breezes past him as if Finn McLaughlin's not even there. Martins is going to be watching the mirrors down into turn 1 as we go back to green. Looking around the outside, there is Machado. That's a brave move through turn 1, out onto the curb. He'll have the next corner to the advantage of the Aston Martin into turn number 2. If Machado can make that work, that's one of the overtakes of the race, and he's done it. Oh, big spin. Oh, that's a big off for the Aston Martin 007. That, to me, looked not to be driver error. I wonder, is that some form of failure for the Aston Martin Vantage? That was a very high speed off. Got to say, the number 16 Toyota did very well to avoid any further incidents, and not a surprise, safety car scramble. This is what we want to see. This is the battle that I thought would occur before the start of this race. The Briton used to these conditions. Mike Halder with the strong record. Round this, oh, they're off. They're both off. They're off into the gravel on driver's left, out of turn 9. The battle is over. They're out of the race, and through back into the lead will go René Paulsen. What happened there? Brickley spins his front wheels. That's dug in. That's going no further. And coming through now is the number 28 of Eric Genet. Genet, who's never won a TCR Spain points race, has gone from 10th on the grid to lead at the end of lap 1. It's going to be 7 wins out of 8. The only time he didn't win this season was when he was going up against the solo run against Lawrence Herr. A brilliant performance from Danny Soufi throughout the season. He won the title yesterday, and he makes it a clean sweep at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. It's a Conrad Motorsports 1-2 with Zeno Ferret-Falca on the podium as well. Quentin Joseph over the line in 3rd. That is provisional, of course.
Welcome back, everybody, to live pictures here at Mount Panorama for round 8 of the CLUB100 iRACING Championship 2025-2026. Don't worry, you're not missing anything at the moment. Just a 10-minute warm-up session to separate races 1 and 2. But with that, let's take you, if you're just joining us, very, very quickly through the grid for race number 2 that looks a little bit like this. Apologies, I'll just set that back to row 1. There we go. Sam Spinell and Ronald Grossman on the front row. Tom Roberts, Axel Sliepcevich, row 2. Sam Sanders, Mike Andrews, row 3. Mike Hart and Andy Arson, row 4. Matt Swain and Murray Adams complete the top 10. Remember, these are positions from the end of race number 1. Jack Eyre and James de Havilland, they will go from row number 6. It's then Josh Mitchell, Cam Watson from row 7. Tom Saunders, whose pace is quicker than 15th place, will start on that 8th row alongside the first of the intermediates, Matthew Shawnee. Vines, Hicks, Cook, Ward, they're all in the top 20. Ellis, Walker, Adey, Whitehouse take us down to 24th. And then wrapping out the rest of the 34 strong field, Jack Mitchell, Lowe, Sean Patterson, Sam Dimolo, James Fremont, Tom Holland, Eric Mignon, Simon Delamere, Matt Hale, Craig Brown and Hassan Iqbal. 34 drivers on the grid then for this one. Reeve Taylor still with me in the virtual DDMM comms box. Good first race, I thought there, Reeve. What do you think we're going to see here in race 2?
I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to hope for more of the same. Really strong driving on lap 1 from all of our competitors. There was the right amount of trepidation, I think, based on the tyre warm-up that the drivers would have had, and they just kind of settled into a rhythm there for the most part, at least, really well, and just cracked on with some good racing. So I'm hoping to see that, but I'm also hoping to see some fantastic revenge driving, shall we say. Well, perhaps that's the wrong word, but a bit of a comeback, perhaps, some likes of, yes, redemption, not revenge.
Here we go then, race number 2, 40 minutes underway once again here round the Mount Panorama circuit. A classic in Bathurst is always something to look forward to. It's a good start for Sam Spinell, good start for Tom Roberts as well in that green and orange Mustang, immediately up to 2nd place ahead of Ronald Grossman. All of them through Hell's Bend for the first time then, and towards the tricky parts of this course. Left-hander coming up of the cutting. That's where, if there's going to be an incident, surely it's going to be through there. I think there has been an incident on this first lap. Eric Mignon may be in a spot of one. No, I'm speaking too soon. I think that was just a falsie from our software there, but there they are, running through the cutting and up towards the top of the mountain. Another, oh, spoke too soon, there's been a problem. Matt Hale is involved with an issue down at the back there. Let's see what happened. I think this all started from Colin Ward. So Colin Ward, look out for the green and yellow McLaren. What happened here? So we had Ollie Walker down the inside, and both of them going for the same piece of tarmac. There is the blockage that we were semi-expecting. I tell you what, they've actually dealt with that really, really well. That could have been a lot worse. Sean Patterson has had problems. That was his spin that we were seeing just towards the end of live pictures there. So, I'll tell you what, Colin Ward could have a little bit of a dramatic and rude awakening. I don't know whether he knows he's got no rear wing. Now off in the wall there, Tim Ellis. Tim Ellis in to the barriers on driver's left out of Forrest's elbow. I'm just going to keep with Colin Ward here. This could be an interesting run down towards the chase with no rear wing. I hope that Colin's aware of that, because that could swap ends on him very quickly. Yes, he is. He's just slowing down there. No major drama. So what happened to Tim Ellis? This was indeed down through Forest. So there was another spinner in front, and then he got collected by Ollie Walker. So Ollie running into Tim there. The spinner further up may have been, it was a kind of sky blue car, may have been James Fremont perhaps. Either way, bit of drama towards the back of the field. Right, further up the order. Good battle for first and second between Spinell and Roberts. Axel Slijepcevic up to third place as well, Reeve. So I like the look of Axel's pace here tonight. Hasn't had a round win so far this season, but came very close to doing so last time out at Oschersleben. Post-race penalties took that one away from him. But he's got clean air. This is something he didn't have in race one, Reeve.
Yeah, absolutely. And what he did have towards the end of the race one was some really, truly impressive pace as well. A cut above even the race leaders towards the end of the stint. So I'll be keen to see if he can build on that momentum and begin to push up towards the likes of Roberts and Spinell as well, because of course they're keeping each other busy in the midst of battle. If Slijepcevic can ignore Grossman behind in a way and just focus on those two cars in front, we're going to see him closing up, as I think we are at the moment, and actually be in the midst of a race leading battle here. That Mustang 1-2 at the moment, currently under threat from being broken up, as we see down the Conrad straight. A nice gap being built up between Slijepcevic and Grossman. Grossman perhaps more concentrating on the Audi right behind him.
Keep your comments coming in. I don't normally side with this kind of comment, but you know, such a charitable guy. Hello Super GT, hello viewers. Whoa, Max Andrews off the road. We'll come back to that, Steve, in a moment, as Max Andrews had a huge moment there coming out of the chase. Now, was that on his own or was that encouraged? Well, he didn't have anyone directly behind him, so I think this is just going to be a mistake. Yeah, catches the curb and it just throws him off the driver's left. Max has done very well there to keep hold of that one. That could have been a lot worse. Let's go back to Super GT is in the house, and it's got a very, very clear mission statement. £100, Great British pounds, to anyone who punts Steve Hicks. Well, I was going to say John Adey. It was your time to shine, but John's just overtaken him. There it is. Jack Mitchell-Lowe could have the £100. No, Steve Hicks is pushing you back. It's like Premier Sprints back in the day, all over again.
My question is, are these £100? Are these £100? Are they stacking? If per punt, is there another?
Oh, big off!
There's been a big off there.
Yeah, was that Daniel Cook? I think it might have been. Yeah, Daniel Cook in the wall. That's the deep in the wall.
Oh wow!
And cuts back to pit lane. So that, well, let's try and have a look at what happened there. So this was through the cutting. Did Dan hear about the £100? I think he did, and got too excited and ended up nearly in someone's garden. Out of the race goes the rookie points leader, Steve. Super GT, what have you done? You've cursed this man and sent him to the Shadow Realm. That is unbelievable behaviour. I'd say keep commenting, but not after that. You've just taken out the rookie points leader. What have you done? Anyway, back at the front of the order. Let's go back to live pictures. That is the scene of Dan Cook still in the... They do stack. They do indeed. Okay, so the £100 is still on. Jack Mitchell-Lowe is the next driver immediately behind Steve Hicks, looking for £100. Meanwhile, there's a race going on. 6.5 minutes, pretty much there or thereabouts, gone so far. Axel Slijepcevic closing in here, Reeve, looking dangerous in the Aston. 2 minute 3.68 last time around. I reckon he's got about half a second a lap here on the top two.
Yeah, this is what we saw towards the end of race one as well. Once he gets into this groove, Slijepcevic is just on another level, it seems, here at this track. He's unlocked a bit of pace out this Aston Martin that no one else seems to be able to do. Also getting a great view here of this battle between Roberts and Spinell. We didn't see too much from Roberts when all is said and done in race one, but he's making amends for that now in race two here. I did mention earlier on, or at least tried to mention, that we might be seeing a bit of a recovery drive for some drivers before I forgot that we don't have a full formation lap here. But now we have a chance to take a brief look at that, and Slijepcevic just hanging back for now. He might be thinking, let's let those two front runners do the work for him as he runs down towards the dipper. Once again, he's closed up quite nicely. The textbook late braking manoeuvres through the elevation drops to gain some time, get right into that slipstream down the Comrod straight. Slijepcevic playing it very close there. Roberts playing it even closer, some might say, as he makes contact, at least a brief bit of contact, with the wall.
Yes, close moment there for Roberts. Thank you, Steve. He apologises to Daniel Cook, and absolutely, mate, would be a pleasure and an honour to get you on the grid. So we've got 2 more rounds of this championship to go. 2 weeks' time, we'll be at Virginia International Raceway, which for drivers watching back, we need to get a poll in the Discord as to which layout we run. Possibly running one of the shorter ones, just to keep it a little bit more exciting for the last Mazda's event of the season. And then I'm really looking forward to the last round of the championship in a month's time, because it's Road Atlanta. I've wanted us to run an event in this championship round, the venue for Petit Le Mans, for many a year, and we're doing it. We said at the start of the season we'd do things a little bit different in the championship this year, mix it up a bit, and yeah, really looking forward to that in 4 weeks' time. The new round here, well, you've been away for a bit. Eligibility for this championship: anyone with a racing history in CLUB100 or BUKC, current driver in BPAC, a relation of the above, a dad, an uncle, an auntie, brother, sister, no matter what. Also, if you are a member of a BUKC affiliated university society, the one I always give the example for this, if you're at Birmingham, UBMRC is the club that you need to be part of to be eligible for this championship. And of course, if you've got a Motorsport UK esports license, you are also eligible for this championship, including the free one. So there should be no reason for you to not at least tick one of the boxes in that run. We have had some drama. James de Havilland has had an incident. I can see on the tracker. This was it. It was Cam Watson down the inside. Boof. There we go. Into the gravel at Murray's Corner. Difficult to see from that replay, or kind of conclude from that replay how much of a move down the inside from Watson that was. But that will get reviewed by our independent race steward from SimStaff. Big thanks to SimStaff once again for all of their support and the work of Ben Mills over the course of this season. And big thanks to SDK Gaming as well. Their system a big part of how this league, how this championship is officiated and run. That's all the boring stuff that happens in the background. Meanwhile, front of this order, 10 minutes gone in this race so far, Reeve. into a nice rhythm. I don't see any of the front runners going for an early stop here. They've got good track position. The pace is strong in this top 3. You just risk running yourself into a load of traffic if you pit now.
Yeah, absolutely. Risk a bit of traffic, also risk pulling what I will call a Tom Saunders potentially, and drawing yourself out of race-leading contention as we go on board with Ronald Grossman, who has gone for that early pit stop, so being an outlier in that one, and I can't say I'm too surprised by that. Why not try something different?
Good scrap this, the one for 7th place. Andy Alston at the front of it, Max Andrews and Jack Eyre. I know you often see this in real life GT3 racing around Bathurst. Of course, it's not that far away to the time of the year where we see the Bathurst 12 hours take place. The different cars having their strengths and weaknesses at different points of this circuit. Gotta say, the mid-engined machines looking unsurprisingly a little bit better over the top of the mountain. Max Andrews then gets a bit more performance down the long straights and is managing to keep Jack Eyre behind him, but it's not comfortable at the moment for the driver, 2nd place in the points.
No, it isn't at the moment as we head down the Comrade straight once more, fully flat out. Ultimate bravery here before you get to Carter, one of the slowest parts of the circuit, on board with Jack Eyre at the moment, running along nicely in 9th, so on for that Clubman podium in terms of standings for this class overall, closing up on Max Andrews. Max Andrews, who we saw with that great battle with Sam Sanders earlier on. They are slightly split this time around, as in the Porsche is looking to find a way past. We haven't seen any big moves or any headline performances for any Porsche drivers so far this evening, so I'll be interested to see if race 2 does offer us that.
Jack on for good points though. I say in what's been a very topsy-turvy Clubman class for their championships so far. Yes, at the moment looks like Sam Spinell is going to be on for one of the biggest, if not the biggest, score for an individual Clubman driver so far this season. But if this last 8 pounds have taught us anything, it's down to assume that that's going to be the same case in 2 weeks' time. It's this bit here. Jack is really quick out of the cutting. The trouble is, this part of the circuit simply isn't wide enough to get a move done on Max Andrews. Max is kind of holding on right now. You can see him losing a bit of time to Andy Alston up ahead in 7th. Interested to see how the Porsche behaves down through the dipper. Don't worry about that for a moment, that Max Andrews disappeared. Look, he's really struggling to get that Mustang to turn in. But here, when he then comes through Forest's elbow, the horses will be unleashed and away Max will probably go. Or just be able to hold Jack there. What's that gap? Around 0.2 of a second. This time Jack Eyre might have more of a go. Down towards the chase. It's going to have to be brave though. Max Andrews is a strong driver. He's had some great races so far this year. Jack Eyre's got his nose ahead. He's going to have to be really brave around the outside there. He'll have the advantage of the next corner to his inside line. A little bit of door-to-door rubbing there. They're still going to be side by side as they head down towards Murray's. And into play may come Josh Mitchell here as well. This is great stuff. This is really good racing once again here in the CLUB100 iRacing Championship. They're still side by side as they start another lap here, Reeve. Jack Eyre trying to hold it round the outside. That is top-notch stuff. Brilliant work by Jack Eyre to keep the pressure on, force the mistake out of Max Andrews. Credit to Max Andrews there. Lesser drivers would have checked a hip, shown a wing mirror, and one of them would have been in the grass and the gravel by this point, but not to be the case as Max Andrews moving back down the inside. Oh, that puts Jack Eyre out on the marbles. Andrews may have the advantage again. Yes, he's got through. So Max Andrews, by the time they get back to the cutting, once again, is back into 8th place.
He is, and through goes Mitchell as well. We took half a lap to try and get that overtake done, but in the end, the ultimate horsepower of that Mustang did win out down those straights. I imagine once again we're going to see being able to close up on the gearbox of the car in front. He can use the corner exit grip that rear engine 911 does offer, and he used it to as much of his advantage as he could. But in the end, down those big long straights, the bigger engines are just about going to win out. We go on board with Murray, and Murray Adams get a fantastic shot of this now 3-car battle as it plays out through the dipper. And there we can see Max Andrews controlling things quite nicely. As you mentioned earlier, Andrew, the width of that Mustang as Murray Adams briefly clips the wall through Forrest's elbow there. The width of that Mustang is quite useful in defence.
Yeah, it is indeed, through that narrow part of the course. I'm loving this. And credit to the drivers as well. I'm going to say it, folks, with 23.5 minutes of this race to go. I think this is the best driving standards that we've ever seen in this championship. They really, really have listened to what's been said over the last few weeks, as that is not an overtake attempt from Murray Adams because he's heading into the pits. Oh, spin! Was that Josh Mitchell? Yes, it was. Josh Mitchell off and into the wall and facing the wrong way. Now, what happened there? That was out of Murray's. Let's have another look at a replay. So this was it down into Murray's. Is this just all on his own? A little bit of curb. Oh, the back end just comes round. Oh, well, that is a real shame for Josh Mitchell, because he's still not quite made it round. Back marker's now trying to come through. Timing has had a real wobble. I think what's happened is Josh has reversed over the start line in the spin, then loops it back round. So Timing thinks he's done about 3 laps in the space of 45 seconds. Now it's oh look, he's all the way down to outside the top 25. Once again, for another clubman, albeit a clubman not part of the championship battle, Reeve. All looking good, all looking gravy, and then all of a sudden, disaster.
What a terrible shame there as well. Such an unfortunate place. I mean, not that there's really an ideal place here at Bathurst to have a spin like that, but right before the start of another lap, you've got to claw back, pick up your feet, get back into the zone to start off another lap. We're going back on board though with our front-running Mustang driving duo here, Tom Roberts versus Sam Spinell, and Roberts just looks a little bit closer as we head through the chase. Roberts has to go onto the grass even to try and keep his Mustang alongside when there just about isn't really a gap there. This is bringing Slijepcevic right into play as well. It becomes a 3-car battle for the race lead effectively. We head into Murray's, and I don't think Sam Spinell is going to have much breathing room over the next lap or so.
Well, Tom Roberts, for the last 3 or 4 rounds, I've got to say, it's been on absolute fire. But again, because it's been the Matt Swain show for most of the season. Of course, Tom Roberts did in the end, once penalties were applied, was the winner of round number 6. That, of course, was the last time out in the GT3s at Portimao. His first round score will go, well, it's already gone tonight because that was a 0 score. Tom joined the series from round 2 onwards, but he looks up for this, and of course he's still got a chance, not just 3rd place in the championship, I think he's got a chance of 2nd place in the championship, because again, Max Andrews, the GT3s aren't his strong points at the moment. What is the gap? Or the gap before the start of the night between Max Andrews in 2nd place in the championship and Tom Saunders 4th, considering that Tom Roberts, I should say, considering that Roberts has done 1 round less. It's about 240 points. So again, most of that 240 point gap will go once drop scores start coming into play. It is very possible, I think, for Tom Roberts to get 2nd place in the series standings come the end of the 10-round championship. And he could really, really do with the extra points. Remember, it's 6 extra points in the championship if you win a race versus finishing 2nd. They have got a back marker ahead, which is Sean Patterson. This is at the fastest point of the circuit. I think because of the presence of the back marker, it's not going to be an opportunity for Roberts on this occasion. Slijepcevic, I wonder as well, does Slijepcevic roll the dice here and go for an early pit stop? thinking that these two could probably take some time off one another still if they continue to fight.
I'll be curious to see how his previous race does aid in his decision making, because he went for a somewhat earlier, well, a notably earlier pit stop than the likes of Spinell in the previous race, and it did work out well for him. Will he want to try his luck with that again, or is he going to just try and stay in the fight here? At the moment, if I were Slijepcevic, and I'm pleased to, for Slijepcevic's sake, I'm not him, I'd be inclined to stay in that battle, but he knows far more than myself about how to make a race car go around a track quickly, so I'll leave that to him.
Just to note who has pitted at the moment. Oh, in fact, I've realised a thing that tells us who has. Ronald Grossman is the first of those who has pitted. He's currently running in 18th place on the road. 19th, Murray Adams has also been in as well. Jack Mitchell-Lowe, Sam Dimolo, James Fremont, Colin Ward, Matt Hale. Should note that some of those will be for damage repairs from the first lap incident. That's how things are looking at the moment in terms of the strategies. Change for, I think, 6th place. Yes, 6th place. Mike Hart has got through. This was how Mike did it. Classic move on the brakes for the number 11. And through into that spot, taking it away from Andy Alston. I think Murray Adams is also... Everybody's having a go into the chase. This was one to the right for Murray. In fact, that one gets done before they get to the corner. I think, yeah, probably a bit of damage on the front of the Porsche. Oh, in fact, yeah, a lot of damage on the front of the Porsche from incidents that we saw earlier on in this race. Slijepcevic, his pace, Reeve, has it gone? Because we're not seeing that in terms of body language of the car. He doesn't seem to be hounding down and hassling the top two at this precise moment.
No, not necessarily, not quite as on a knife's edge as he previously has been. I don't want to say it's completely gone, because it's still 204.2 for his last lap, still a really impressive run, but I think that a slight extension of lap time has coincided with Spinell and Roberts just pushing each other along relentlessly, and they're dipping into the 203s as they perhaps weren't earlier on, and they found time they found a way to battle without costing each other time, basically, and I think that might not be helping Slijepcevic quite as much as it was earlier on in the race. We still have 16 minutes to go in this, and we're going to go on board with Matthew Shawnee, who impressed in race 1, and he's on track to impress again in the intermediate class in race 2. Currently 14th on the road, but will obviously score a whole multitude of points as we go on board with Stevie Hicks to hear more of that Audi Lamborghini V10 goodness, which very much pleases me. I'd like to hear, actually, from those of you watching along at home, do drop in the comments, what's your favourite sounding car out of this GT3 class so far? Bit of an easier question in the Masters. So, what's your favourite GT3 favourite sounding GT3 car we've ran this year? But yeah, Stevie Hicks is the car in front of Shawnee at the moment, and as I say, Shawnee strength to strength at the moment in the Inters.
The £100 is, I trust, still available from Steve Brown Super GT. I don't think Matthew Shawnee's going to be taking that right now, for the very simple reason he could be 2 rounds away from from winning one of the 3 free race days courtesy of Club 100 for our class winners. Remember, the top Premier, top Clubman, top Intermediate driver all get a free race day in either the SP40 North Championship or the Club 100 Experience Championship. So basically, they get a load of practice, a qualifying, and some 40 minutes worth of racing across a day, courtesy of JV and the team. And if you weren't with us earlier, tomorrow, keep your eyes out on the social media. In fact, keep your eyes out on the social medias anyway. There's been a change today. I'm going to leave it there. I'll see if you can notice what it is.
Have you been handed your P45?
No, not yet. Not yet. Tomorrow, the live streaming dates for 2026 for the UKC, Club 100 Sprint South, Cadet and Junior South, Cadet and Junior North, and Sprints North and SP40 North are going to be announced. Once again, it's selected events across the Rotax Racing Club UK events for 2026, as we should remind and call them now. But they're all coming out tomorrow. A lot of work been going on behind the scenes. I'll be involved. You'll be involved, Reeve. Various rounds. You're going to be our man of the north.
Hey up!
Hey up!
Cracking!
Welcome to Warden Law. And all that. Anyway, back to the racing. How many northern accents can we do in the space of one lap of Bathurst? That could be a challenge for.
That'll be an easy one, that kid.
It can indeed. 14 minutes of this race to go. Steve Hicks, safe for now from the bounty placed on him by everybody's favourite CLUB100 YouTuber. I still consider him the CLUB100 YouTuber. I know he's gone on to much bigger things since then, but you know, we don't forget where he started. In fact, if you go back long enough on DDMM archives, I think one of Steve's first ever proper interviews when we. In fact, no, it could be back on the BUKC podcast many years ago when that was a thing. Let's go back to the race. 13 minutes of this one to go. Tom Saunders in. Reeve. I like blue, but right now we need something a bit more like TV2. That will do us. It's got to be a really frustrating feeling, this, for Tom. We did a quick little bit of maths, didn't we, before race 2, mate? We reckon he lost 2/3 of his points advantage over Sam Spinell with that pit lane infringement from race number 1, the resultant loss of positions, and it just seems to have hit his night like a sledgehammer. It's not going the way he wanted.
It really isn't, unfortunately, and it is a bit of a snowball effect, as we mentioned or briefly covered earlier on Bathurst. Unfortunately, we've seen some fantastic racing, some fantastic overtakes, but it is narrow in places, and if you do have that tumbling down the order and you carry that penalty in effect into race 2, it is always going to be a difficult race weekend, unfortunately. That incident just played out the way that it did for Tom Saunders there, so hopefully we'll have a better time out in about a month's time when we break out the GT3s for one last time.
Indeed. Back at the front of the field then. Sam Spinell has been putting in some good lap times recently, solidly in the 2-minute threes. If it was in the 1 minute something, that would be remarkable. With the fastest lap times in all of iRacing round this circuit in the GT3. 10 minutes of this one to go. Do they pit at this stage? Yes. Well, Sam does. Tom goes on. Big lap this now, Reeve. Basically, Tom Roberts is going to get one flyer to see if he can make the overcut work.
Yeah, absolutely. This now becomes a brief qualifying session for Tom Roberts. Eagle eyes all on the lap time indicator on the timing systems. Well, it does have some lap traffic to contend with now. Immediately jumps onto the high beams. It's probably just because it's nice for him to drive a car that has high beams that work, unlike his real life car probably. But immediately is using them to try and find a way past the back marker. The back marker very courteous in staying in a predictable spot without compromising their own running. So Roberts is through. But on that last lap at 2:03.6, Roberts, that is the fastest lap we've seen in the race so far. A really quick time. He'll be hoping to continue that momentum and try and put in a bit of a quality lap here, whilst Spinell gets cracking on with getting those new tyres up to temperature. We look on from the helicopter here to see Roberts flying through the twisty stuff. It'll all come down to what these mini sectors look like. They're not quite updating on my end, so I don't know whether you have any more insight, Andrew, as to how the lap is shaping up. Yeah,
I think he lost a little bit of time. It was Simon Delamere who, fair play to Simon, you know, he hadn't done anything wrong. He was just rolling out of the pits, minding his own business, and bam, the leader was upon him. So, yeah, there he has gone purple through mini sector 4. So this is still looking like quite a useful in-lap. You'd imagine that this is an in-lap for Tom Roberts. What is happening with Sam Spinell? Oh, Sam Spinell's been off the road. Now, Sam Spinell. Right, now Sam has come out behind Matthew Shawnee. So Matthew Shawnee, like in race 1, is going long. This could decide things, because whilst Matthew Shawnee's had very good pace, it's not going to be Sam Spinell pace. Also, Matthew's not going to want to risk anything at this stage. Tom Roberts comes into pit lane, attacks the pit entry. Axel Slijepcevic has followed him in as well. This is where this race is going to be decided then. Oh, this is even going to be down to how much fuel do you put in? How many milliseconds of sitting on pit road do you dare? We've already seen one front runner tonight get things wrong in pit lane and get a penalty as a result. Watson in, Shawnee in. Where is Sam Spinell? Sam Spinell is coming round Murray's now. Tom Roberts, is he moving yet? Yes, he is. This is going to be really tight on pit exit between Roberts and Spinell for the race lead. I think the Liverpool man has got it. He has, and in fact Slijepcevic has jumped Spinell as well. So Tom Roberts takes the lead of this motor race, and with that, I think he also takes the lead in the round. No, it will be a tie. It'll be a tie because Roberts was third at the start of this race. So a first and third at the moment for both Roberts and Spinell. Slijepcevic could be the decider here. I think Slijepcevic's hopes of winning this round probably a little bit too far away. He would have needed Spinell to fall a little bit further down the order than he has done. But what a bit of work there by Tom Roberts on the overcut. Mega lap. And was taking the lead with less than 8 minutes to go, Reeve.
Yeah, really impressive decision-making there towards the end. I've got to be careful that I don't sound like I'm glazing fellow Liverpool alumni all that much, but Spinell currently stuck behind Slijepcevic at this moment, and all of a sudden Slijepcevic becomes Tom Roberts' closest ally in this race. They might be a few seconds apart, but all of a sudden I'm sure Roberts wants that Aston Martin vantage to be as wide as it can possibly be for the remaining 8 minutes, while we perhaps could be looking at a similar situation to what Spinell was in race 1, where overtakes were done, had about 8 minutes towards the end, and it was just a case of Spinell just cruising the car on home with some decent lap times in. I mean, we do still have around about 5 or 6 laps to go in this one, so anything could happen yet. But we have seen races turn on the head, all right, in the dying moments, but let's see what Spinell can do against Slijepcevic. They are both flying along at the moment, but Spinell closes up, has a look down the inside at Murray's. That would have been very brave indeed, and the opportunity was closed off before the Belgian could have done anything about it. So we head on to the next lap for Sam to await his next opportunity.
Top 4 in this race all have at least one really, really bad score on their scorecards that they're wanting to get rid of. Tom Roberts, nice and easy, didn't take part in round 1, so he's got a 0 that's going out the window tonight. Slijepcevic likewise. Slijepcevic dropped or wasn't at one of the rounds earlier on in the season. There'll be round 5. He also had a 9-point score from Sebring. We'll come back to that because look at this. Spinell is putting Slijepcevic under massive pressure right now. They've got about 6 or 7 seconds over Sam Sanders behind. Should note as well, Matt Swain, very quiet tonight, but up to 5th place. I'm pretty sure he's in championship winning position now because Max Andrews is behind him on the road, P6. So I think we're going to be getting the graphic out again for the championship win, but we're going to stick with this battle, Reeve, because this is hotting up right now between Slijepcevic and Spinell. But because of their moments earlier on in the season, they both had at least one really bad night. They can't really afford to do anything silly at this stage, because even if they don't win this race, these are still good championship points.
They are indeed, and as you say, it's well, I thought it was going to be a race of attrition earlier on this evening. It turned out that, you know what, these drivers very much have the measure of things here, but they, as you say, they don't want to try and make any brave moves late on. We did see Stam having a brief glance down the inside in a couple of moments, and I'm all for drivers seizing their opportunities and putting on some great shows for us, but for Sam's sake, a P3 still a really strong point-holding position, but I think actually coming through the end of the chase here, he's going to get the move done, potentially gets the nose out in front, but as we head through Murray's corner, it's Slijepcevic with the tighter inside line there, slight advantage, the back end kicks out, they get closer still, and they're pretty much still side by side as we start the next lap of the race. It's going to be Axel on the inside once again, Sam trying to hang that big Mustang around the outside, the back end kicks out on both cars, but I think it's going to be the Mustang who that has the straight line advantage here as they are still side by side. Front axle to rear axle, and it's Axel Slijepcevic who is potentially losing out on second.
Oh, but he's not going to give it up without a fight. They touch on the run up to turn 2. On the inside is Sam Spinell. That's fine for me. Little bit of rubbing is racing. Spinell back up to a second place in this race and now has a sole lead of the round points. But he needed that. He needed to get through, not just for the round. That's kind of inferior to the challenge of chasing down the Clubman points leader in the championship. Oh, my goodness me. Sam nearly hit the wall there. At least it looked like it from that camera angle as they're coming over the into the mountain. But, you know, he's got a good opportunity here. Tom Saunders isn't having the best of nights. He's in damage limitation mode. He needs every point he can get if he's going to take that Clubman Class Championship in a month's time.
He does indeed, and I thought, you know what, maybe these drivers are just going to chill out a little bit, but they are still on that knife's edge as we go on board with Craig Brown, who has a very poorly Mustang. That's looking a little bit different to what Sam Spinell's has been over the past couple of laps. That intermediate driver, unfortunately, dropping back out of contention here, bringing a bit of gravel onto the track as well, and that suspension is... well, I had an old 3 Series that looked like that after an unfortunate incident with the roundabout. So, Craig, oh dear, Ronald Grossman, one of our front runners earlier on in the evening, a disaster. His Ferrari is completely out of this one. Oh dear.
And that is going to be, well, let's have a look at how it happened first to one of the contenders for the prize pot in Premier. Oh, the back end's just gone. Not the first time that we've said that tonight. And again, no margin for error, bang, in the wall. Rear deck, rear wing, diffuser, everything gone. And I think also the rear axle bust as well. In fact, I tell you what, Ronald's done a really good job there. He put that into the wall just to get it out of the way of everybody else. But that is another big moment here in, I say, beyond, outside of Matt Swain's run to the title. It has been such a topsy-turvy season for everybody else. It's going to give us a very exciting last 2 rounds of the season. Remember, we'll be back here on the DDMM YouTube channel 2 weeks' time. Last round in the MX-5s, round Virginia International Raceway, and then 2 weeks after that, a month's time, here in the GT3s, round at Road Atlanta. Tom Roberts coming up behind Simon Delamere. Oh, in the worst possible point. Simon trying to get off the road, got it wrong. Oh, that is, for me, there was nothing wrong with Tom Roberts' approach to that. Oh, I think Simon just got caught in 2 minds there as to how to deal with being the back marker. Didn't do what really you should do, which is be predictable. Now, the question is, has Tom got damage? Sam Spinell's just tapped the wall there, out of Forest's elbow. I'm just looking at the front right corner of the car, Reeve. That doesn't look factory spec to me. Is that Mustang going to be okay for the last lap of this race?
It's certainly going to be less than ideal. That amount of camber is going to make it ever so slightly twitchy around left-hand bends, I would say, where it's probably going to lean towards that new angle that the wheels got. But what he might be losing out on primarily is going to be straight line speed with that suspension damage that he's got there, which is really going to cost when Sam Spinell's Mustang has been an absolute monster in a straight line so far this evening. Has someone got the Jaws theme at the ready? Because I think we're going to need it over the final moments of this race.
That car is not turning in on left-handers. He's really, really struggling with left-handers, is Tom Roberts. You can see there from that angle, the whole front bumper is pushed in. There's like-for-like comparison directly behind with the Paragon Mustang, and Sam Spinell could still be on for a 240-point score. See, again, the green and orange Mustang of Tom Roberts is wounded here. But if there's one place where he could probably hold it, it is over the top of the mountain. Sam Spinell would be crazy to try a move through this part of the course. He's probably thinking right now, Tom, where is your pace gone? What is going on here? I was 3.5 seconds behind you 2 laps ago. And oh, into the wall.
Whoa.
Tom Roberts hits the wall. He really, really is struggling with left-handers. This Mustang is not going to be a fine steed down the dipper here. This shows the skills of Tom Roberts. How many times have we seen drivers lose it with completely 100% healthy cars? Tom Roberts is running with a wounded machine right now. I tell you what, Axel Slijepcevic is still not out of this as well. He's there in 3rd place. Top 3 covered by less than a second round right now. Down towards the chase for the final time here in race 2. How much does Sam Spinell want those extra 6 championship points? He doesn't need them for the round win, but he needs them for the championship stakes in the clubman category. Here we go then, on the brakes. Roberts takes a slight, that's great defensive work from Tom Roberts. Just took a slightly defensive line to the middle of the road, didn't compromise himself too much. One more corner to go then in a thoroughly entertaining, utterly dramatic race 2 here at Bathurst. Tom Roberts is going to win it. Sam Spinell will win the round. What a way to win it and hold on from Tom Roberts after the contact with the back marker, which was not his fault at all. He holds on, Reeve, by mere tenths of a second, a quarter of a second. Slijepcevic 3rd. Every time we have a new season or I come into a season, a round of this championship and think, what can they do tonight? What can they do that we've never seen before? And they deliver. Tom Roberts, hat tip to you, sir. That was not an easy last lap of this circuit.
Certainly not. There, he had that awful balance of wanting to back off through the twisties, but also that's going to cost him time. But he needed to back off because otherwise he was going to end up in the wall. Did up in the wall anyway. That Coleman Motorsport liveried Mustang limping its way home, and mad respect points there for Tom Roberts and fellow Liverpool driver, but there's absolutely no bias in that statement, as I'm sure you all agree. That was just, I am amazed, given that Mustang ended up coming home in P1, but congratulations as well to Spinell and Slijepcevic for not giving up. Just in case something like that did happen, they were there, and one more lap, I think that would have been a very different story. But still plenty of racing going elsewhere out on track.
Yeah, but apologies to the rest of the top 20 that we didn't see them over the line. Matthew Shawnee, that's a big night for Matthew in the intermediate, isn't it? Two class wins again. Over the line as well. Top rookie, looks like it was Jack Mitchell-Lowe. So, well, I tell you what, that's going to turn things on its head in the rookie category as well. And Jack, another driver who I want to say missed round 1. So has scored a useful amount of points there. Apologies, we still have a couple of drivers over the line. Oh dear, Tandil Cook's had a spin out of the final corner.
Extra airtime.
Is this gonna be a reverse over the line? No, I think that was, what was happening? Oh, it's Matt. Of course, it's Matt Hale doing weird things. He's been on the left there again. That's how you finish a race. If you're in the G3 Pro Ferrari for 25th. Right, is that everyone over the line? Yes, it is. Let's have a look at a classified result then. This is still a provisional classified result, but a win for Tom Roberts. And I tell you what, not just the drama of winning a race like that, but those championship points, Reeve, will be really, really key for him as he looks to try and take second place away from Max Andrews.
Yeah, he certainly well, that was a really good showing towards the end there.
So Tom Roberts takes the win. Sam Spinell P2, Axel Slijepcevic, Matt Swain and Sam Sanders. We'll just quickly do some maths. No, the title has not been secured tonight. The reason being is that is a drop for Matt Swain, 174. It's the first time this season that Swain has not got over 200 points. And Max Andrews, whilst he did drop points, 180 the score for Max tonight from a possible 240. That is still, he's still in that region of where if an asteroid hit Matthew Swain's rig, not Matthew himself, we wouldn't want that at all. But if Matthew wasn't able to race in rounds 9 and 10 for whatever reason, and Max still got very high scores, 240s, 230s, mathematically this could still go his way. I'll be honest, still very unlikely for it to go Max's way, but technically we still have a championship on by the early calculations, leaving Bathurst here tonight. So Roberts, Spinell, Slijepcevic, Swain, Sanders and Andrews, your top 6. Really solid night for Mike Hart. That's 2 top 10s for Mike tonight, and had good pace as well. So good to see. Second of those in the Clubman's, Tom Saunders, as I say, on damage limitation duty there after the pit lane infringement in race number 1, coming back from 15th place to 8th. That's a good race, but again, he'll be so frustrated with that mistake, whatever it was. We suspect it was speeding in pit lane, because it's cost him a lot of points that could potentially have been on the board after tonight. He's joined on the race class podium by Andy Alston. Good return for Andy Alston. Andy had a really tough time 2 weeks ago at Oschersleben. That's more like it from the Scot, and beats a fellow Scot to 9th place as well. Murray Adams completes the top 10. Cameron Watson, P11. Jack Eyre, P12. Steve Hicks on return. Nobody took the offer of £100 from Super GT to spin that number 21 round. Correctly done, drivers. They've all been told what we think of intentional wrecking around here. So Hicksy comes home in 13th place. Jokes aside, not a bad showing at all from Hicksy. For those who don't know, he's been out, had a very, very bad shoulder and upper body injury. So he's been out for a long, long time. I've seen his rig. It's quite impressive. It's up in the loft. The doctors, and more importantly, his wife, for a long time have not allowed him to climb a ladder. So he's not been able to get up there. But great to see Hicksy back and in good form. 14th for Matthew Shawnee. It's not the intermediate title yet for Matthew, but that is a big step towards it, because he'll extend his championship points advantage, which at the start of the night, I want to say was, quick maths, around 170 points. That is getting up towards a full 240 now. Again, mathematically, it could still change, but Matthew Shawnee can be very happy with his work here tonight. Lawrence Vines as well, looking to consolidate things in the top 15. Another top 15 there, just ahead of James de Havilland, who had problems. John Adey as well, looking to secure this 1-2 result in the intermediate class for the parachuting carrots. It was P17. Jack Mitchell-Lowe, still not out of it in the rookie stakes as well, was P18. David Whitehouse, Ollie Walker, both in the top 20. Eric Mignon, Tom Holland and Colin Ward pick up useful points in their rookie campaigns in that second race. Tim Ellis had problems, a spin on lap 1 and contact with Ollie Walker. Matt Hale finished the race backwards, as he does, at P25. Off the lead lap was Simon Delamere, who was involved in that dramatic moment towards the end of the race with the race winner. Dan Cook, P27. A little bit of a setback, but still got points on the board. Got to the end of the race, scored points. That might not be the end of the world for the rookie points leader. Beat also to the line James Fremont, Sam Dimolo. They had problems. Ronald Grossman, we saw, crashed out, as did Craig Brown, Sean Patterson, Josh Mitchell and Asan Iqbal, the rest of the 34 classified runners. Reeve, is that the most dramatic night in your Club 100 iRacing Championship commentary career so far?
I think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to take you up on that one. That has got to be one of the most dramatic and also impressive and enjoyable to watch nights that we've had so far. So big thank you to the drivers for putting on a really good show for us. Definitely not an easy track to go racing for 2 40-minute races for with a packed GT3 grid like this, and I think you all overall did a very good job. You know, it's been a good round when the commentators want to go away and immediately start talking to their mates about the racing that's just happened in front of them because they enjoyed it that much, and I can certainly speak for myself in saying that that will be the case. So well done everyone, really enjoyable night.
there we go then. That's all we've got time for tonight here at DDMM Towers for round 8 of the Club 100 iRacing Championship. If you've enjoyed watching it, if you want to get involved, head across to the SimGrid page. Make sure you're following that. Details coming soon. Once we've got all the plans together and all the dates and all the boring admin stuff to have some racing continue over the spring and the summer. And if you sweet talk to us nicely, I think we can get you on the grid for the last 2 rounds of the season as well. The last Mazda's appearance for this season will be in 2 weeks' time. We've done a little bit of everything around the world in this championship, and we finish in the States. We'll be at Virginia International Raceway in 2 weeks' time for round 9, the penultimate round of the championship, and then 2 weeks after that, say always every other Tuesday through this championship season, we'll be back in the GT3s at Road Atlanta for the championship finale. Still very much looking like it's Matt Swain's championship. He'll look to formally wrap things up in 2 weeks' time, but the evening goes to Sam Spinell, who takes the round win, and Tom Roberts, who bravely gets himself through to take that race 2 win. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your support. Thank you for joining us. If you've not done so already and you'd like to, click that subscribe button. This has been the DDMM YouTube channel. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Virginia International Raceway.